Hello everyone. So it's freezing again today. Not technically freezing, but my hands feel like it's freezing. You can tell they're all red because it's so cold. Again, not walking the horses. It has been raining and it's just cold and miserable. At this point in time, I feel like I'm never going to get the 100 miles in. I'm still at 37 miles walked. So I still have a long ways to go and the weather's not cooperating. But it is January, almost February, so I can't really blame it. It is doing what it's supposed to do. And I never, ever, ever want to complain about rain because we need rain. My horses need rain for the hay to grow nice and healthy so I can afford to feed them. So I'm not complaining about the rain. I'm just letting you know that's why we're not walking. But today is a milestone day for me in my life. This is also my brother's birthday and kind of helps remind me that it's my brother's birthday because of what happened to me on this day many years ago. When I was 17, I got my first horse. His name was Covelo. He was a quarter horse. He has passed on since, not from old age, unfortunately, but he got something. We don't know what it was, and it was probably the bacteria that possums can give a horse if the horse eats around the manure of possums, some sort of bacteria that goes to their brain and causes them to go berserk. And that's what happened to him. And unfortunately, he did have to be put to sleep. So anyway, Covelo was 7 months old when I got him. And we also got his sister, his half-sister. And her name was Manzanita. They were both quarter horses. And I was super excited because I always wanted a horse. And my mom finally got us a horse. And I was feeding him. And Covelo and Manzanita were eating pretty much like Fabio and Catalina are eating right now. Except it was in one bucket and it was Covelo's food. And I was going to get Manzanita and take her to her bucket. We'd only had the horses for 3 days and I'd never had horses before. So hotshot 17-year-old me, who, I read all the books. We didn't have internet back then, so, it wasn't Google searching, but it was books. And I thought I knew everything there was to know. I was 17. And so my little smart butt decided I was just going to go in there, walk between those two horses who knew me from nowhere, and boss them around, tell the one to get out of the other one's space and go over here, and you're going to eat the food over here. Well, to add a comma to my story, because my mom, for a long time, did not want us to get horses. She was scared of horses. The only experience that my mom ever had of horses was when she was a teenager. She was with her best friend, and she was going to ride her best friend's horse, and she got bucked off. And the other thing that always happened to my mom was horses always liked to bite her. So they were always either biting her shirts or her jacket or her hair. And so my mom never had good experience with horses, but I promised my mom. I was like, no, Mom, you don't understand. It would be fine. I know horses. I love them. I know what I'm doing. I've read all this stuff and I know what I'm doing. So I finally convinced my mom to get a horse. We've had the horses for 3 days, and on the third day, January 23rd, forever ago, my mom actually came out to watch me with the horses. So the 2 prior days, I was taking care of the horses by myself. But this day, my mom was like, oh, I'll come watch you feed your horses. So, again, back to what the original story was, Covelo and Manzanita. Manzanita was 4 months old, so she was a little girl. But anyway, they were eating like Catalina and Fabio. And I'm going to get in there and I'm going to tell them, no, get away, and you go over here. And as I did that, Covelo, he decided, no, I wasn't taking him away from his food, and he kicked me. Well, the first kick wasn't bad. It was just in my leg, and I really didn't even really quite know what exactly happened, but he just kicked me in my leg, which caused me to fall backwards. So, let's see. I'm definitely way more cautious around horses when they're eating, and I worked with them a lot. Do not do what I'm doing. I am just going to give you a flashback of what I did, but do not do this. This is not horse training. So, here's Covelo, and there would be Manzanita, much, much shorter. And I'm gonna go in there and boss them around. So I was walking in there. Again, please do not do this around your horses. Fabio, I always let them know I'm coming. So, and Catalina. So I was about right here. And Covelo kicked me right about here, and it just caused me to fumble backwards. And when I got to be about right here, Covelo was able to get a really good look at me, and horses are extremely good at kicking. They know where they're kicking. Their aim is very precise. And he lifted up that back foot and hit me right under my chin, flying me backwards, like way back. I don't even know how far back I went. It hurt so bad. And the whole family was there. It wasn't just my mom. I have 9 brothers and, well, I have 8 brothers and sisters. So everybody was there. Everybody saw it. My dad was there. My mom was there. And I went flying backwards and completely, you know, scared. I mean, really, really scared. And so I go over to my dad, and my dad looks at my face, which was already completely swelling. It was huge. And he touched my face and said, "I think you broke your jaw." Completely freaked me out. I was bleeding. My chin was bleeding. My mouth was bleeding. So he said, "I think you broke your jaw." And my mom, of course, who's already scared of horses, already didn't think I needed a horse. And very sadly, my mom has passed away. But she was always calm about things. Like, even in situations that should be extremely stressful, my mom was always calm. She screamed on the inside. But anyway, so she just looked at me and she's like, "Well, come on, we got to go to the emergency room." So, we lived up on a hill, and we parked our cars 500 feet below where our house was. So we walked down to the car, and we lived in Eminence, Missouri. Maybe some of you know where that is. But anyway, so we walked down to the car, got in the car, and drove 30 minutes to the nearest emergency room. And my mouth is bleeding the whole time. Get to the emergency room, and they do an x-ray, and thank goodness my jaw was not broken. My teeth were fine, but I had bit my tongue almost in half. So I couldn't talk for 3 days because I had to let my tongue heal. But my tongue actually saved my teeth, because I probably would have cracked a bunch of teeth, but my tongue took the impact. And besides your eye, your tongue is the second fastest healing part of our bodies. So that was nice. So it only took 3 days for my tongue to be to where I could talk again, barely, but I could talk, which was a big deal for me because I love to talk. But anyway, so all was well as far as it could have been a whole lot worse, but I learned a very valuable lesson. You do not get in between horses when they're eating. Should be, period. I know I just did, but I've had these horses for 3 years, going on 4 years. In fact, I think very shortly. Yeah, it's been 3 years. But anyway, I've got to know them, and I've been very careful about training them to accept me between them while they're eating, but I would never, ever, ever tell anybody to do that. Never do that. Do not do as I do. Do as I say. But anyway, so it was a big deal, and that happened today. Like I said, long time ago. I could say decades ago. But anyway, you are only as old as you feel. So that's what my milestone is for today, and I just thought I would share that story with you. I was very, very scared of my horse after that. Super scared of him. He was a boss. He knew he was a boss. Manzanita was a very calm horse. She's super, super sweet. Swear she wouldn't hurt a fly. And she has passed since, but she got to live to be almost 30. So she lived a lot longer than Covelo, but she had something go wrong with her too, and she actually had to be put to sleep as well. And we didn't have any test done to what might have. See, this is why you don't get between horses when they're eating, because they get very, very, very bossy. But so anyway, she had something, and she ended up having to be put down too, but she did get to live longer. I think she was 28 when she passed away, and we got her at 4 months old, so that just shows you how long ago it was. But so I was really, really scared of my horse after that, and it really humbled me to not be a smartass, pardon my language, about, or being around horses. That they're a whole lot stronger than us, and they're not just easily bossed around. But I wanted to get a new horse, and surprisingly, my mom said no. She said that I needed to learn how to deal with him, or he was going to just be a beautiful yard ornament. So it took some time, and by time I mean at least 5 months before I felt comfortable enough to get in the pen with him. After that day, I would just put the food over the fence and be like, you guys eat what you eat, and if you don't eat because the other one's bossing the other one around, then so be it. Again, I was 17 years old, never had a horse before. But slowly but surely, I worked my way with him. He worked, we figured each other out. We had to give each other time to learn about each other. And I didn't want to ruin his spirit, but I also wanted to be safe around him. So slowly but surely, we bonded and we worked things out. I would put a halter on him from the outside of the fence. We didn't have an electric fence, we just had field fence. And I'd put a halter on him from the outside of the fence, and I would hook my lead rope up to him, and I'd walk him up and down, and I would go over the T-post, walk over the T-post, walk over the T-post. And whenever he would start to get like where he was trying to get away from me, I would just wrap the lead rope around a T-post and just let him sit there and figure out that you're not going anywhere. And then we'd walk again. And then when I was able to walk him up and down the fence line, where he was actually a good boy, then I got in the field with him, and I'd walk him like 5 steps, and then I'd walk back and I would get out. It took a long time for me to get over the fear of him, but he turned out to be an awesome horse. Never sent him to a trainer. We just figured it out as we went, and people were amazed of how good of a horse he was. But it didn't happen in 30 days. It happened in years. But anyway, so that's my milestone for January 23rd, and a day that will be me having dementia or Alzheimer's to forget. So do you guys have a milestone with your horses? Like, what is a day that you will always remember, and what was it that happened on that day that causes you to remember it every year? So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Is there anything that you would like me to do? Let me know. Thank you to all the new people who have subscribed to the channel. It's awesome. Thank you. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye.